to Iran, and now the U.S. blockade, which is going to shut down the Iranian machine.
And we talked about it, but is now the time to focus on the Gulf of Oman, the Bab el-Mandeb, to see what's going to happen there? Because Iran has threatened that with this new blockage of the Strait of Hormuz, they might focus on that. Trey Ying saying they threatened to close the Bab el-Mandeb, the gateway to the Red Sea, in response to the U.S. blockage of the ports. This be carried out through proxy forces in Yemen and the Houthis. Jennifer Griffin also alluding to something you mentioned, Sal, with the other vessels moving through down around Africa. So we're following that very closely. Is this what we're focusing on now, Sal? Is the Bab el-Mandeb the point that we should be pivotal right at this moment?
I think it's a big concern for them. I think moving the Bush battle group, instead of coming through the Mediterranean, through the Suez and down the Red Sea, coming around South Africa is a key thing. I think actually the issue there was coming through the Suez Canal. You're very defenseless inside the Suez Canal. You're really at the mercy of the Egyptians for defense. Everybody knows where you are. You are very exposed coming through the Suez Canal. However, having a second carrier in the region is going to be key because they will let you cover the Houthis, because the threat of the Houthis is if they start attacking ships, that's going to jeopardize that secondary source of oil coming out of Yanbu on the west coast of Saudi Arabia. They've been able to get the pipeline up to its full capacity. It's loading about 5 million barrels per day. Now, we're not close to the 20 million barrels per day we were getting out of the Strait of Hormuz, but at least there is oil coming out of Saudi Arabia, which is helping to offset some of the shortages.
And we heard over the weekend, and we also talked about this, the threat of mines, almost more important than just the reality of them. But we feel like we got some some actual notes from the Trump administration that there were mines in the region. Does that really startle companies, nations about going through the Strait of Hormuz, knowing that, for in fact, there were mines placed there?
I think it does cause a lot of concern for shipping to go through. But the other thing we got from the Trump administration is that anti-mine operations have been ongoing for a while. The U.S. has had drones in the area, both surface and subsurface drones. And so a lot of work's been done so far to counter that. And you wouldn't sail two $2 billion destroyers through the Strait of Hormuz unless you had some comfort in the area that you've cleared the area of mines. Now, it may not be the entire area, but the key is to get swept lanes, areas in which you can shuffle ships through, and you can expand that as time goes on. So the U.S. Navy and Central Command is well on their way to trying to secure the Strait of Hormuz, open it up for the return of commercial shipping, while at the same time really impacting the Iranian ability to make money and move their ships freely.
And the big question is, when this blockade is there, if a Chinese, if a Pakistani, if an Indian ship comes their way and tries to get through this blockade,